Welcome to Studies and Narratives in Power. We're going to be looking at the narrative arc of Raquel Thomas, in Raising Kanan Season 5. In this season, Rak's position takes on a new turn, following the death of Lu at the start of the season and the ensuing fractures. As we do know, this slow process of Rak's empire effectively tumbling was really set off in Season 4. Towards the end of Season 4, we see a disgruntled Kanan who suspects that both Crystal and Famous were put down, taken out, eliminated by Raquel Thomas, his mother. And so, what we see at the end of Season 4 is this disgruntled Kanan approaching Rak in her house, ready to eliminate her as well. But what we find happens at the start of Season 5, Episode 1, is that in fact, Kanan ends up eliminating Lulu Thomas. This of course was not Kanan's intention going there, but he was going there with an intent for blood. And so we see Kanan's destructive tendency redirected, impacting his Uncle Lu. Now, rather than coming clean, at least to her family, such as to Marvin, such as to Jukebox, about what actually had taken place in that house, we find a situation where Rak does what she always does. She covers up for Kanan. Now, as the season progresses, we see a disgruntled Marvin Thomas, hungry for vengeance, given the death of Lulu. We see Marvin suspecting that Unique is the one behind the death of Lulu, and he goes out there and he eliminates a lot of people in the hunt for Unique, only to find that Unique has not only left town, but that Unique has absolutely no intention of coming back. Beyond this, in this season, we see a situation where so many hits on Rak's business are made by people associated with Kanan. We see the incident where Kanan leads to, effectively causes the poisoning and effectively the killing of the judge. We see this situation where Breeze manages to get to Joaquin in the club and eliminates Joaquin, a close collaborator of Raquel Thomas. And not only that, when Kanan sets up for the judge to be eliminated, he is so brazen at that time that he literally tells the woman, "Go and tell Rak that it's Kanan who's done this." And still, save a severe beatdown issued through Uncle Marvin, Rak basically does nothing to Kanan. She says, "If you're asking me whether he deserved to die behind that shit, you know I'ma say no. He's my son." What we find throughout Season 5 is a situation where Marvin is far more willing to look and see Kanan accurately than the level of willingness of Raquel Thomas. And this is to her detriment. When Raquel tries to take out Stefano, instead of approaching this in a way that has much more certainty to it, they recruit people who they neither know very well nor trust very much. And of course, one betrays the other two, and the remaining one is eliminated by Stefano. Later, we see a situation where Raquel Thomas's business continues to collapse, and yet still she refuses to see Kanan for who he is. The idealized version of Kanan dominates her mind. The idealized version of Kanan inhibits her conduct. Her son has become a problem, a huge problem for her business, and yet she, throughout this series, appears so much more obsessed with protecting Kanan than with saving her business. This is a bizarre aspect of the show. In almost all other respects and in almost all other situations, Raquel Thomas is cold. She's calculated, she's strategic, she's tactical, and she's exceptionally forward-thinking. However, truth be told, if she was more forward-thinking than anyone else, she would have abandoned the game while she was still ahead, just like Unique did. Nonetheless, as it relates to the one area that matters so much to the protection of her ongoing business, at this stage, protecting her business from a Prince Zuko looking Kanan Stark, she's completely and totally blind. And as we saw in Season 5, Episode 7, this all reaches a hilt, the straw that breaks the camel's back. We see a situation where Kanan has gone so far off the rails that he was not only willing to, but does stalk and subsequently eliminate Marvin Thomas, his uncle. We also see how the trusted soldiers that Ruck had, Lulu and Marvin, have both been lost. Not simply lost to the game, but lost to the game that is Kanan Stark. Their loss to Kanan. Both of them. And so she's effectively trying to operate her business in a manner that is almost totally isolated. No one she trusts is left. No one she can truly rely on is left. Why? Because she refused to see Kanan soon enough for who Kanan truly is. Flossie cut ties with her. Well, why does that happen? Well, Kanan. But not just Kanan, Ruck as well. Again, it is Ruck's desire to cover up what Kanan did. She lies to Flossie about the circumstances behind the death of the federal judge. She says it was an overdose, when the reality is that she knew at that point that it was Kanan. Later, Kanan tells Flossie in her house that it actually was him, and that Ruck knew, and that he's Ruck's son. And what we find is that Flossie chooses to cut ties with Ruck. Now, Ruck is in a bad place at this point. As we know, by this point, Joaquin, his ties with her are cut. Not voluntarily, but by way of his elimination by Breeze. Stefano hates her guts, wants her gone, not just out of the game, but off the earth. And even individuals who she saw as her new route to dominate want nothing to do with her anymore. By the end of episode 7, even Pino Bernardi, who was once protective of her, wants nothing to do with her. And all of this can really be traced back to one person, and really, one person alone. Kanan. And yes, Snaps and Pop played their role. Neither of them directly eliminated Marvin Thomas or Lulu Thomas. Now, the fact that Snaps and Pops by the end of Season 5, Episode 7 are now eliminated, this doesn't actually materially change the situation that Rack is in. She still has a long line of enemies. And as we saw by this point, even Tremont, predictably, wanted nothing to do with her. But the fact that she was even approaching Tremont by the end of episode 7 in an attempt to rescue her business shows just how far Raquel Thomas has fallen. Ultimately, not even at the hands of Kanan, but at the hands of her blind spot as it relates to who Kanan has actually become.